July 4th, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Hey. We are, Baruch Hashem, we finished that sugya, Teku.
Baruch Hashem.
Now we go to Rav Papa, Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa can be found on 96a. And this is first word in the, it's about 10 lines from the bottom. And the first word in the line is Teku. And then you got 2 dots, and then you have Amar Rav Papa. So we got another new sugi over here.
96A2, right-hand column, last paragraph.
Okay. Roy is honored with doing the reading.
Toda Rabba. The Gemara discusses what does or does not constitute a change with regard to a stolen palm tree. Omar Rav Papa. Rav Papa said, Hey, main de gazel dikala machabare v'katale. In the case of this person who stole a palm tree from his fellow and cut it down, Af al gav de shadaya ma'ara la'ara didua didaya, even though he felled it from the land in which it was growing onto his own land, lo kanai, he does not acquire it.
Wow.
May Shama, what's the reason? That he does not acquire it through changing the stolen tree from one that is growing to one that is cut down. Ma'ikara dikala mikare vahashta mami dikala makara. Because originally it's called a palm tree, and now too it is called a palm tree.
Okay, let's take a look at, we got 2 Rashis over here, a short one and a medium one. The first one is Rashi V'katale.
Bekatale. Kitsatso.
Right.
I don't know what kitsatso means.
Katsatso means to cut it. To cut it, in this case with a tree, to cut it down. And the reason why Rashi's telling us that is because generally the word katle means to kill. I first saw it, I said, this is quite a strange case. He stole his palm tree and he killed them. So now I see Rashi says, no, that's not what it means over here. It means that he stole the tree and he cut it down. And then it says, even though he shadia me'ara la'ara today, he he moved it from the land of the Nigzal to put it now in his own land. I guess he replanted it in his own property. Lo kane. He does not acquire it. The Goslin does not acquire it with all of that, with all of those shinuyim that happened to this date palm. And now we got Rashi lo kane. He does not acquire.
Lo kane, does not acquire.
The
The shlume demei ella yahiv le digle gufe deleka shinui hashem le miknaye. So to pay l'shlume dame, to pay the value.
Right.
Ella,
Yeah.
but Yahivle, it comes to him.
Yahiv, he gives.
He gives it. Dikla is a date palm, right?
Right.
Gufe, the body of the date palm, the leka shinui, that it's not a change, Hashem in the name. The miknaye. I don't know what the miknaye is.
In other words, to acquire it thereby, as a result of the shinui. Leka shinui Hashem. There is no shinui Hashem here. The miknaya, which to allow him to acquire this date palm on the basis of the shinui that was made. There is no shinui that was made. There's no shinui Hashem.
So what is this first statement, to pay the value?
Oh, good. So Rashi's going on the words lokani in the Gemora that says that even though he stole it and he uprooted it and he replanted it in his own property, he has not acquired the date palm. Now, what's the nafkamina? You're asking. What's the nafkamina of whether he acquires it? The nafkamina is that's what Rashi's explaining. L'shlumi dami. If he would have acquired it, then he would not need to give back the date palm. The date palm is his.
Oh,
But he was a goslin.
Pay the value.
Yeah, to pay the value. If he acquires it, he wouldn't have to give back the date palm that he acquired with the shinui. He would just have to, obviously he's going to have to give back for the fact that he stole, but he wouldn't have to give back the date palm itself. He'd have to give back the cash value of the date palm.
Rather, he gives him the actual tree that he cut down. He has to give it back.
Yeah.
Because it's not a change in the name to acquire it. Ah, got it.
Yeah. And that's what the Gemora says. The Gemora asked my timer, why is it that he did not acquire it? So the Gemora says, because Nikara Dikle Mikre, it initially was called a palm tree, and now, after having been stolen, it's also a palm tree. What change did the Goslin do to this tree? Obviously, he if somebody steals something, that means that he absconds with the stolen property and he takes it to his own property, and now it's in his property. Now it's in his reshus. but that doesn't constitute any type of a kinyan. That's just what it means to steal something. But otherwise, the tree is the same date palm tree that it was when it was stolen. There's no change at all in the tree, and so therefore he didn't acquire it.
If the thief put it into richer ground and nourished it more than it was before, would that be a change, or would it still be called a palm tree, but it'd be a change in its health?
Right, that's a good question. Right, that according to some, that might be regarded as a shinui, so that he wouldn't have to return the date palm. He'd only have to return the value. Very good.
And if he did what Roy said, and let's say it didn't have any fruit, and then he replanted it and nourished it and it grew fruit, then that would be an increase, right?
Right. Either way, there's a shevach.
Right. That would be a shevach.
There would be a shevach that would be that was our last sugya that we discussed. Does the Goslin acquire the shevach in the? Does he acquire the shevach? Does he have to give it back, or does he have to, or has he acquired it?
If we say he acquired it, then it would mean that he'd have to pay back the value of the tree as it was. But if we say he didn't acquire it, then he'd have to give back the tree with the fruit. Correct?
Yeah.
So it would be worse for him if he acquired it.
No, if he acquires it, then what that means is that what he acquires, he doesn't. Oh, 1 second. You're asking like this. See, if somebody acquires, I mean, this gets into all these issues that we had in the previous couple sugyas over here.
Right.
What is he? There was different opinions about this. In other words, if the shevach, that's what Rava said. Rava said, Rava was talking about the shevach that the lokeach would make. But what we were talking about before in the Gemora was that if the Goslin himself makes a shevach, so then he's going to get that. He's not going to have to pay. Well, unless we penalize him, that's the point. There was who was it? There was one of the Tanoim said it was Reb Meir. Yes, it was Reb Meir. Reb Meir said yes, a Goslin who creates shevach in a stolen article, he's got to give back both the article as well as the shevach. He hasn't, because we don't want him to profit from anything that he did. It's really a penalty, because Mina Torah, he should have acquired it based upon the shevach that he made, and perhaps it's called a shinui in the stolen item itself. So that with that shinui, he would have acquired it, and he wouldn't have to pay except b'shas hagzela for what it was at the time of the gezel. But Reb Meir said no, we don't want that this Goslin should profit from his gezela, and even though he worked hard to improve it, we're going to penalize him because he's a Goslin. And we don't want him to profit from his gezela that he gazled. And so therefore, according to Reb Meir, he'd have to return everything back. But there was those that didn't agree with Reb Meir. There was those that said that no, he's acquired the gezel, he's acquired the shevach that he made, but he does have to give back he does have to give back the value of the stolen article that he stole. So there was different opinions about this. Yes.
Right. There was a view that said that we want to encourage the thief to do tshuva.
Right.
Is that the opposite of Reb Meir?
Oh. So in other words, how does how does Reb Meir understand the Tekanas Hashavim?
Yeah.
See, the truth is that if you look in the Gemora about the Tekanas Hashavim, the Gemora talks about a case of a Goslin that stole a beam, and then he took the beam and he built a building with the beam.
Right.
And so the Gemara says that he doesn't have to tear down the building in order to give back the beam.
Right.
So perhaps Reb Meir would agree he doesn't have to tear down the building in order to give back the beam, but in this case, he's going to have to give everything back. Going to have to give everything back. He's not going to do tshuva. So, too bad, says Reb Meir. So yeah, you're pointing out a very interesting thing. On the one hand, we have Tekanas Hashavim. On the other hand, we have Reb Meir, who says not every case do we favor the Goslin. And Rashi explained over there, Shelo yechot nisker, because we don't want a Goslin to profit from his wrongdoing. So it's there's two competing considerations over here. So we each case we would have to analyze and see how Reb Meir comes out because I don't think it's reasonable to say that Reb Meir argues on the whole Tekanas Hashavim. Although it might be that he does. I don't know. That would need further research.
Reb Meir is an Amora, correct?
Reb Meir is a Tana.
Oh, he's a Tana, so he can argue.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's Rav Papa. That's Rav Papa's din about the Dikla. And now the Gemora continues, and we call upon Alan.
Okay.
To continue. Dikla de Ovid Govi.
96A3, very top.
Very top. Okay. Rob Papa continues. Dikla Vid Gubei Lo Kani. If one stole a palm tree and made it into logs, he does not acquire it. Hashtor mi michas Gubei the Dik law Mikre. For even now, at any rate, they are still called palm tree logs. Their name then remains essentially the same. Gobei the Dina Hu Shure Korni. If, however, he stole logs and made them into beams, he does acquire them. Bashure Rebbe
Dina Hu, Ke Shure Zu the Ray Lo Cornet. If he stole large beams and made them into small beams, he does not acquire them, since their name essentially remains essentially the same. Of the Dina Hu, Katsura Yoroso Cornet. If, however, he made the beams into boards, he does acquire them.
Oh, Kitsutsiyasa, those are, oh, how are they different than Kishure? There's something different. Those are beams, and those are called something else. They have a different name. And so that different name that they are means that they're a different thing now. And so likewise, the Goslin will be koine if he makes from the Kishure into Kitsutsiyasa. He will acquire them.
Rashi says Kitsutyasa is karsim,
Oh, crushing.
crushing. What does that mean?
Actually, crushing is the name of the
Malacha?
in the Mishkan, right? The Mishkan had the Mishkan in the Midbar. So there was a outdoor area that had the Mizbeach, but it was closed in. It was closed in with krashim. Krashim are made out of wood, and they were put into the ground with adanim, like things to secure them on the bottom in the sand, and they put animal skins around they surrounded the animals, crushing with animal skins, and like that it was a closed off area. So I don't know, there's some difference between something that's called Kishure and Kutsutsiosya. So if he steals, it has a different name. What we need to know is what exactly is the difference. They both would seem to be called wooden beams. Wooden beams, Kishure. What's the difference between Kishure and Kitsutsiyasa? Did Rashi explain anything about Kishure? No.
No.
Maybe 23? No. I think a beam is sort of like thick, say, like sort of, say, 5 inches by 5 inches in cross section. But a board would be, say, 5 inches wide by maybe 2 inches deep.
Okay.
That would be thinner.
So in other words, you'd have to put together a few Kishure in order to get one Kitsutsiyasa.
Yeah, except you couldn't, because a beam is a single item.
Because over here we're talking about that he stole this, that the Gemora says Abdinu Kitsutsiyasa Kone. So what that means is that he stole, he didn't steal Kitsutsiyasa, he stole Kishure.
Mm-hmm.
And he made them, Abdinu, he made them into Kitsutsiyasa.
Right. what you use a beam for, you couldn't use a Kutsiosa for. So you
Yeah,
could use a beam to be the central thing in the house to support the roof, but you couldn't use a plank for that. It wouldn't be strong enough.
yeah.
Well, if Kutsutsiasa is Krushim, I think of as beams. Hold on a second, I gotta go. My wife is.
Mm.
Okay. But it does seem that it's possible to make these kitsutsiosas. That's what he did. He stole Kishure and he made them into kitsutsiosa. And like that, he's now transformed the Kishure into a different item. It's now a kitsutsiosa. It's a different thing. And the proof of the matter that it's a different thing is that it's got a different name. It's not just called a thick or a fat kishure. It's called a kitsutsiosa.
Right. But also it can't be returned to be a beam. Once it's made into a plank, that's it. It can't be put back into its original form of a beam.
No, he's starting off with planks and making it into a beam.
No, you can't. It's the other way around.
Yeah, I think Roy is got it, because if you think of the Krushim, the wood that was used to make the Mishkan, the outer wall, those were very, very large pieces of wood. So that would be something that you would cut down a tree, and you would take, the largest piece of wood that you could from the tree to make this this thing, which we call a beam. Then if you wanted to,
Oh,
I don't know what
see
this
the picture.
Right. If you wanted to further refine, you could take that beam, that big piece of wood, and you could cut it up into boards.
Can you see what I'm doing or not?
Yeah, I can see what you're doing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm not sure what the point of it is, but I can see it.
So that's the beam, and that's the plank.
Right. The planks are smaller, and once you cut it up into planks, you can't make it bigger. You can't put them back together.
Right. You can glue them, I suppose, but it wouldn't be the same anyway.
By the way, I just wanted to mention, the reason my wife's call was so important is that I have a new granddaughter.
Oh, Mazel tov.
She was born on Friday. Her name is Sarah Miriam.
Oh,
And
Oh,
my wife was calling from the hospital. So fortunately, everything is fine. It was nothing serious.
Good.
But, that's why I had to jump off and get the call.
beautiful.
Oh, they've been there since Friday.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. The mother is fine. Thank God. Everything went well, but she's still at the hospital.
Okay.
Mazel tov.
How do I get rid of this?
Very good. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
What's my? Oh,
I think there's
how do I get rid of this now?
I think on the left-hand side, isn't there an eraser? 2 spots below the T, looks like an eraser.
Yeah, I have an eraser here, but I can't erase because
How do you get rid of it?
charge.
No, that doesn't do it. I've got
But I can
stuff.
draw.
Oh, I don't see an eraser either.
What about the underneath? Yeah, it's an erase, yeah, underneath the T.
I can't move it.
Two things below when it says erase.
Because I'm drawing
Yeah.
now.
On the left-hand side, it says there's a big T, and then the sticky note, and then erase.
Yeah, see, I just erased what I drew.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure then what the Gemora is talking about over here. He stole Kishure and he's making them into Kitsus Yosa.
Oh, that does not fit with our understanding. So we're not understanding it correctly, Roy.
All right, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll close the whiteboard. There we are.
Yeah, we need somebody like Rashi to explain to us what these things are.
Oh, one second.
Yeah, I don't get it. If he stole large beams and made them into small beams, he does not acquire them. That I don't get that, because you can't put them back. So I would think that would be a change.
But the name is the same.
Yeah, here we're learning something else. We're learning that true, even though you can't reverse what was done, but if it still has the same shame, if you call it the same thing, it's not going to be regarded as a shinui. That's the chiddush of what Rav Papa is saying over here.
Right.
But in this case, when he's taking the kshure and he's making them into something called kitzutz yosa, that is going to be regarded as a kinyan.
Mm. So a beam is a beam regardless of its size, in other words.
Yes, because the beam and boards are different sizes, right?
How do they translate these two words there, the art scroll? How do they translate kishure? How do they translate kitzutz yosa?
Like we've been saying, beams and boards. Kutsiosa are boards. And kushure are what do you call them? Beams. What's 22? Is that anything? 20.
Oh,
He stole large beams and made him. This certainly constitutes a new case. See note 20.
yeah, I was assuming that the Rashi translates this word the kitzutz yosa as krashim. And
Krashim means again what?
I mean, the krashim is the same word as we used in the Mishkan for those
planks.
It's I would understand a plank is more flat.
Yes, it's like I drew it.
But what you drew it to me looked like was more had more thickness to it. Wasn't just a plank.
The first one I drew was the beam. The second one was meant to be the planks.
Yeah.
So, but to
Okay.
at a certain point, the thickness of the plank would become a beam, but they were thin enough to be called planks.
Yeah. Does Tosus say anything over here? No. No Tosus.
What happens if the name remains the same, but the use is different? Because a small beam can't do the job of a big beam.
Look, what's that again?
What happens if the name remains the same, large beam and small beam, but the use changes because a large beam can do something, but a small beam can't do it. So a large beam could go right across the whole house, but the small beam couldn't do that. Couldn't use a small beam as you would use a large beam. So there's a change in its function.
Right. Right. It's a good question.
But not its name.
Yeah, it's a good question. In that case,
You have to have a little house.
Shuri Zutre. Yeah, he's just cutting. He stole a large kishure, and he cut them, and now he made them into small ones.
Right.
He's not kona. According to Rav Papa, he's not kona them because we call them the same thing. We call them this is a big one, this is a small one, but the name of the thing is the same. So that according to Rav Papa, that's not called making a shinui.
So maybe we've got someone against Rav Papa.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see if somebody's going to disagree with Rav Papa, but I just wanted to point out, I see over here, it's brought from the Shita Mikubetzes. The Shita Mikubetzes, it seems, is not learning the way Rashi is learning. Rashi is learning, he's calling this Kitzutz Yosa a Krashim, which I'm understanding is a bigger thing than a thicker thing than a kishure. But the Shita Mikubetzes brings from the Gaonim, he says that Kitzutz Yosa is the Hatichos, Ketanos, V'lo Chazu Ela the Kishure Zutre. So he's the Shita Mikubetzes is bringing an earlier opinion from the Gaonim that says that this Kitzutz Yosa would not seem to be translating like Rashi, that it's like the Krashim in the Mishkan, but they're Hatichos Ketanos, and they are Delo Chazi Afilu Likshure Zutre. They wouldn't even be fit to be used as small planks. So here we see a little bit what you were saying before about we're talking about what it is that these things are be able to be used for. That's of course a factor in the issue of whether a shinui has been made in the item.
Right.
So it seems that the Shita Bekabetzis is saying we're going in a descending order over here. The first thing that Rav Papa said was that if he stole kashure ravravi, if he stole large kashure and he made him into small kashure, so then he hasn't been koina according to that, because presumably the reason is because it's still called the same thing, even though it's smaller. But if he makes those things, those kishure sutre into a ketsusyasa, then he has acquired. And the reason he's acquired is because those are chatichos katanos, those are very small pieces, and they're not even fit to be used for kishure zutre. So they're not fit for the purpose of the kishure zutre that he stole. So like that, he's kona. So it seems to be, according to the Shita Mekubetzis, it seems like there's a perhaps that's why it has a different name. It has a different name because it cannot be used to perform the same task that the kashure can perform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's what we got so far. Baruch Hashem, 12:30.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.
Okay, you too.
Baruch Hatzlacha and Mazel Tov again.
Thank you so much. Number 12.
Wow, Kinayin Hara.
Oh, very nice. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
And,